This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We've got the national story going on in Minnesota. And listen, and I know that mostly we talk sports here, and there's a sports angle to this one too. First of all, I got to just say that I'm not sure what's going on in Minnesota, but I want the Minnesota police to know that you guys are a disgrace, okay? You're an embarrassment to society. You're a disgrace to humanity. You know, you kill a man. The fact that they have not charged this officer, at least the one that had his knee on his throat. I charge all four of them. But at least having that one guy in jail waiting charges, at least to show that some justice is taking place. And I say that there are sports involved because Colin Kaepernick yesterday put out a tweet that said, when civility leads to death, revolting is the only logical reaction. The cries for peace will rain down, and when they do, they will land on deaf ears because your violence has brought this resistance. We have the right to fight back. Rest in power, George Floyd. Now, before you go and pick on Colin Kaepernick, and I've done plenty of picking on Colin Kaepernick because I don't think he ever really wanted to be a quarterback again. I think he wants to be a social activist, which there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Nothing wrong with that. And I got to tell you something. For Kaepernick and for the black community, they are entitled to feel this way, okay? They are entitled. Why? Because when they kneel, right, they get no justice. They get no understanding, right? You know, you kneel, right, and you do everything peacefully, and then what happens? We have idiots all over the world calling them un-American. And those of you that were calling the people un-American that had a right to protest, okay, because you were, what do you do now? What do you do now? You hide in a corner, right? You cower is what you do because you don't come out and you don't have the balls to say, you know, I was wrong about criticizing the athletes for kneeling. I mean, you do things peacefully and nothing changes. So then, I know the rioting doesn't help. I know destroying the auto store and destroying all, I know none of that helps because innocent people are losing their businesses that had nothing to do with George Floyd's death. But the problem is that when you do things peacefully, nothing changes. So then, what do you expect a group of individuals that continue to see the same injustice take place? In one calendar week, we saw a racist guy in New York, which, by the way, he got kicked out of the building as a tenant and got fired from his job. Okay? We saw a racist bitch who, by the way, that guy would have been arrested if it was just a phone call. If it was just a phone call and that hysterical white woman says, hey, this black guy is, you know, intimidating me, this, that, whatever, they would have charged him. Cops would have gotten there and they would have charged him and they would have arrested his ass. But luckily he filmed it all. She lost her job too. And she's sorry now. She's sorry now that she got exposed for the racist woman that she's been forever. Or let me remember, for the racist pig that she's been forever. Okay? So in 1 week, you see all these incidents. It's a thing that black people have to deal with all the damn time. And look, it's pretty simple. We got to end sexism. We got to end anti-Semitism. We got to end homophobia. We got to end racism. We got to end all of this kind of stuff. but we all have to do it together. And one of the things that I loved about what I saw yesterday, actually in Minneapolis, there was a lot of white people. A lot of white. In fact, there were more white protesters than black protesters. And I'll tell you, it was, at least from my point of view, 10-1. 10-1. Okay? So it wasn't like everyone in the black community was out there on the streets. No. There were a lot of white people. But that's kind of what we need. That's what we need, dude.
That's what it's going to take to make a real difference, right?
Right, exactly.
White America has to step up and say enough of this.
No, actually, America has to step up for homophobia. America has to step up for sexism. America has to step up for racism. My point is, I don't care if you're Asian or you're black or you're white or you're female or you're gay, you're straight, whatever. We all got to get together and end homophobia. We all must fight for racism. We all must fight for Mr. Floyd. That's what we're supposed to do, all of us, because there's injustice going on all the time. So instead of everybody trying to fight just one issue that's out there, we have to fight all of them together. Because that way, when we're fighting all of us homophobia, they're not just going after the homosexuals now. They're going after the heterosexuals too, because we're standing by them. And so it's just like if you're black, then we need Hispanics and Asians and whites to be next to the blacks fighting racism. And when women are fighting for their rights, men, doesn't matter where you come from, you got to be next to your women fighting for them. That's my point. This is what we've got to get to, where all of us fight for what's right, dude. That's what it's all about. When we see animal abuse, everyone should be fighting for to stop the cruelty of animals. You understand what I'm saying? It's just children. It's not Asian children. It's not Jamaican children. It's not Jewish. It's not Protestant. It's not Catholic. It's children we need to fight for. Like Ripley, we got to fight for all of them. That's the place we got to get to. Okay? So that way we eradicate all hate. We eradicate all abuse. That's the real issue in this country, because everybody deals. Remember I told you the other day, everybody deals with a bias, man. If you're Italian, you get the freaking mobster jokes half the time. And you probably have never been tied to a mobster ever in your life, never even seen one. But because you're Italian, they throw it at you. Everybody's got some kind of bias that you're tied with. Whatever. You got Irish background, right? Well, you must be drunk. It's just one of those things. And everybody's got a tie. Something. You name it. Almost all of us have to deal with some kind of bias. And to me, that's the problem in our country. We have all these issues, right? And then we don't fight all the issues together. And then we have individual groups just fighting, and then it looks like they're only fighting for their interest when it should be about humanity. And the one beautiful thing that I saw yesterday, or the last couple of days, is that I saw a lot of mix there. Now, I could joke a little bit here on this, and it might be kind of like Utah, that there might not be a large black population there. So maybe that's what it is also. But it was still nice to see that there was a large white population that was out there also protesting. Not looting, not rioting, not doing stuff, because I'm sure plenty of those kids that were white were doing the wrong thing. And I get all of that. but you get to a crossroad where you peacefully protest over and over and over and over again, and you're vilified for peacefully protesting, and nothing happens. Nobody does anything. It continues to fester. Black people continue to get killed for no reason at all. And it's on video. We saw the dude in Facebook a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever it was already at this time. Was it 2 years ago? I don't know. Time flies. No different with him. No different with the gentleman that was being held down by a couple of cops. What was it, in a gas station, I think it was? Where
Oh, he's on the trunk of the car?
No, he was on the floor. No, he was on the floor.
Okay.
The guy was on the floor. It was two cops, and they killed him too. And then now Floyd. It's all the same thing. Nothing's changed. It's all the same thing. It's dirty police officers. You know, and at what and here's the other thing. At what point do the good officers also say, you know, enough's enough already? Because, you know, this crap about protecting blue and blue, I mean, that's garbage, dude. That's garbage. I mean, if cops ever want to get any respect whatsoever, well, then get rid of the bad ones, bro. I mean, it's pretty simple.
What did they say? Oh, the guy that had his knee on the guy, 50 things, complaints on him.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Mike,
he had all
come
kinds.
on.
Right. And so that, to me, that's the problem with all of this. There's just so many things that are wrong with all of this, but we all got to get together and fight it. That's really the issue. We can't allow women alone to fight for their rights. We have to be men, and we have to stand by them. Because it's all wrong. All of it. So that's what we need to do in this country, man. And again, I don't want to see the looting. I don't want to see the rioting. I don't want to see any of that. But I understand, man.
Can't blame them, man.
It gets to a point already where it's just, and you know what? We're way past the point. Put it that way. In fact, I think the black community has been too patient. Because it's just too many injustices. And it happens all the time. And it happens casually. And nothing is ever done. And people get away with that guy right now is it's just like the two guys that shot the other gentleman. And they were
the Aubrey situation.
Was it like 2 months those guys were out?
Yeah. Nothing.
And they committed murder. And this cop committed murder, and he's free.
It's filmed. There's plenty of evidence. What is the state attorney waiting for?
There's nothing more to see. There's nothing more to see. People are screaming at the guy to take his knee off.
And it's not just one camera. It isn't like there's 3 different angles, 3 different shots.
If somebody's saying, I can't breathe, this guy was not a murderer, bro. This guy was not like some major criminal or anything. You know what? You're putting the knee into Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, I don't think any of us, if that was Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't think any of us would have complained. We would have said, oh, he died? Well, that's justice. But this man didn't even deserve to get arrested, probably. That's the worst part.
They said resisting.
And
they walk him of it. They put him up against the wall. He sits down. They take him out of the vehicle. At no point does this guy do anything involving him.
Anyway, they were in control the whole time. There was no need to put a knee in the man's neck. If he's not fighting you, there's no reason to put a knee in the man's neck.
He's screaming for his mom, and I can't breathe.
Right.
His mom.
Right. I mean, give me a break, dude. And that's why it gets to a point where, okay, so we protest peacefully and we're vilified. Right? You even have the president complaining. Doesn't have better things to do. And so, and then you've got this situation. Well, you know, you keep allowing this to happen in our society, and we know it's wrong.
They pile up on it, arresting the CNN crew this morning.
Yeah,
Trump,
Omar Jimenez.
Yeah.
Is, the
Trump
crews
saying,
just have him move, man. That's all pretty simple. The guy's telling you, we're going wherever you tell us to go.
Right.
We're just covering the story like everybody else. That's all. Move the people. That's all. You arrest them. Again, it just shows how short-sighted they are.
And then they lie. They said, when we got their credentials. No, they showed it to you right up front, man.
Yeah.
You arrested.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
Yeah. No, that's
Trump saying, if you loot, we're going to here, let's escalate the situation. Like,
right, yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. It's just, it's pretty bad, man. It's sad. It really is. All right, what we got here, Omar's in the house, Clarence Collins, Pat in Nashville, Ian from Brooklyn, Richard McLean says Styx Grand Illusion, right? Yep. Well, it's not Grand Illusion, but it's a it's a Styx concert show from I think like 17 or 16 or something like that, a couple years back. They put on a really good show, even without Dennis DeYoung. They do a good job, and the guy that fills in and does the Dennis DeYoung role, he sounds really good, and he puts on a good show because he is about the most active keyboard player I have ever seen in my life. Okay? I've never seen a keyboard player that stands on his keyboard more than he does. In fact, I've never seen anybody stand on a keyboard, and yet he does it over and over and over again throughout the whole thing.
It's hard, man, because, the keyboard's stationary unless you pull a Howard Jones.
No, but his
right?
spins.
Oh, okay.
It's on a spinning platform and everything. I'm telling you, he's have you seen that version of Styx?
No, I have not that one.
You got to go see it. They're actually really, really good. I've seen it like about 4 times, and they are exceptional. Matthew Walker's in the house, EM Dolphin fan, George Albanese. Let's see. It goes, come on, don't blast the whole police force. Well, yeah, no, I'm going to blast them all, bro. I'm going to blast them all. We need to start blasting all cops in general from now on. Yeah. Do you know why we need to start doing that? Because I know most cops are good. We need to put pressure on the good cops to start getting rid of the bad cops. Because obviously, there's no other way of doing it. There's no other way. You can't be nice and you can't have a peaceful protest in this country. Everybody tells you to protest peacefully, and then all they do is tear you down for protesting peacefully. And then we keep getting black people killed for no reason at all. We have a list and a garbage list of bad cops from sea to shining sea in this country. And we know that 90-something% of the cops are good. It's time for those 90-something% to show real leadership, okay, and care about their community and rat out and get these scumbags off the force, out of these communities and out of those uniforms. So I got to tell you something. It doesn't help at all to separate cops anymore. We're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere with peaceful protest. We're not getting anywhere giving cops in general the benefit of the doubt that they deserve. Okay? The good cops need to be lumped in with all the bad cops now. Do you know why? Because this will force good cops to finally say, enough. That guy's got to go. And that's it. That woman's dirty. That man's dirty. This guy's a scumbag. That guy's a bias. This guy's taking money. Let's go. Let's get him out of here. So that's where you and I are going to disagree, George. We are at a crossroad in this country already. Okay? And the good cops, we know it's most of them, they need to step up now. They cannot cover for their own anymore. That stuff has got to go, man. That's unacceptable. Okay? And until the good cops look in the mirror and say, good cops are going to get abused out on the street now for no reason at all because of the bad cops.
Kind of like the Charlottesville thing with the social and outing the guy we talked about on South Beach.
Man.
These people need to be outed because they're part of the problem. And if you're condoning it and not stepping up, you are part of the problem. Yeah. That's it.
The good cops are as bad almost as the bad cops if they're not getting rid of them.
It's the only way we can make a change, man. People have to step up.
You want respect from the public? You want respect from the black community? Well, then, man, let's go. Start acting respectful. That's all. So that's where we are going to disagree enormously on this one. Ian from Brooklyn says, this is why I F's with you, O. I may not agree with everything you say, but you are honest and you tell it like it is and see it individual, my man. Much love. Thank you. Jean-Luc says, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Exactly. Bob Whitmer is
awesome
in.
Point. Awesome point, man.
Yep. Bob Whitmer is in. Clarence Collins says, Big O, thank you for your emphasis on being human. Other races just don't understand going to the mall, store down the street. It's dangerous, Big O. Why only blacks go through this? Please explain. Racism, baby. That's all it is. It's racism. You saw it from the white woman and the white dude this past week. Okay? It's pretty simple. And you've seen over the last couple weeks, you've seen incidents where a white guy, did you see the one where the white guy had a knife and was like coming at the cops, but not like swinging the knife at him, but just coming at him and they just backed up? If that was a black dude, bro, they would have.
Guns drawn and unloaded.
They would have.
Yeah.
They would have nightsticked his ass. They would have tasered him. They would have beat his ass down. I mean, you see that scene, and that's it, man. That's racism. That's all that is. You're programmed to think black is evil. And so you react right away that like the dude in the gym. Oh, these three black guys. Oh, they've got to be thugs and punks and drug dealers. There's no way that these guys are tenants and have legitimate businesses here in this building. That's because he thinks that the black race is no way going to be equal to where he's at. And that's where the black woman, dragging the dog, by the way, uses the threat of the police to intimidate the black guy. Because in her eyes, she sees the black man as evil, and she sees the police in line with her thinking. And it's us against you, bird watcher.
Have you seen some of the comments that Christian Cooper has come out with, man?
Christian Cooper's a stud, bro.
Dude, I got to say, man,
awesome.
There is no way that I would have that calm and, demeanor. There's no way, bro.
Well, he's black.
He's a better man than I am.
He's black, so he's dealt with that situation probably 10 other times. So he's smart enough to know how to turn it in his favor. And luckily for technology, he was able to do that. And it was a beautiful thing.
Thank goodness.
And again, props to him. He's 57 years old. That guy looks great at 57.
But some of the comments, you're escalating the situation. That you're. I get that you're mad and upset, but you're escalating, and it makes us know better than the person, that lady, Amy Cooper. And man, I wouldn't be that calm. I would not be able. I'd be like, man, we need to, get up, make some difference.
George puts to Matthew Walker, I'm not defending any of the cops that had something to do with this tragedy. My issue is Big O referred to all cops as a disgrace. I take issue with that. Not right, man. Well, we're at a point, George, where we have to put pressure on the good cops now, bro. We have to put pressure. This has to end, man. This has to end.
Yeah, because if you're a good cop, it's not good right now. You look bad, and that's not fair to you.
Right.
So the people that are part of the problem need to be outed.
Yeah, and you, George, and me, and everybody else, we can't get the bad cops out. We can't. The only people that can do it are the cops, internal affairs, all those people that they have to make it part of their DNA that this is the behavior that we will not accept. And when they do that, then we can actually treat everybody. But right now, unfortunately, George, you have to treat every cop the same. You can't trust them. And do you think they want that? They don't want that. But do something about it. Notice, George, nothing's changing. Bad cops continue to kill people, even on live video.
You might say it's actually getting worse, so.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Okay.
It's worse because now we're seeing it, because this was all behind the scenes. And then we didn't know what was what. Now we're watching it, man. It's unacceptable. I'm sorry. Let's see. Miami Kid J says, Big O, once again, these people have been enabled from the powers above. You're right. Omar says, I've been in law enforcement and closely still work with them. I own a PI company. Agree with Big O 100%. The good cops have to step up and weed out the bad cops. It's the only way, man. It's the only way. I know cops. A lot of them. Okay? And I'm sure if they hear this, they won't be happy with it, but they're going to understand. They're going to understand. It's up to them now. It's up to good cops to clean up their departments all across this country. That's what we need. Dougie Fresh says, well said, your D&D level is officially at 20 as of today. Matthew Walker, so Trump demands for protesters to be shot but not arrest of George Floyd's murderers. Yeah, I know. It's, you know.
That's how much more evidence do they need to do something, man?
Big J doing big things is saying good morning. Ian from Brooklyn says Trump incites this behavior with a well-thought-out 15-minute speech by him about the nonsense in our society. This type of behavior wouldn't be so blatant. Well, the behavior has been going on before Trump, so I'm not going to blame the cops' behavior on Trump. This has been going on forever, bro. Okay, we had riots here years ago, so McDuffie is still in my mind. All right. Big O, it has to start at the police academy. They are trained to have each other's back for obvious reasons, but there should be a line that once you cross, you have to get outed. I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, the problem is we know that there's a ton of good cops. The good cops have to understand that they are getting labeled with all the bad cops now. And they need to step. Look, I'll give you another example of how things have changed. Okay, growing up in Little Havana, all right, and we had a pretty, whacked out neighborhood. All right, we had the Latin Kings. We had. I saw gang initiations at my park. I saw knife fights. I had a drive-by one time. We all dived on the floor as they shot. Hell, I remember one time there was a hefty bag loaded with marijuana that was being stashed at the park. None of us even came. We're like 12, 10, 11, 13 years old. None of us even, we knew what it was, and we never came close to it because we knew the gang that was locally was in charge of that. So it's like you did not mess with anything. So my neighborhood was kind of screwed up back in the day. And anybody that lived back in the 60s and 70s in those neighborhoods in Pastorita and Shenandoah and Little Havana, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of delincuentes y marimberos and all kinds of stuff going on in those days. And we used to have a couple cops that hung around the neighborhood. They drove around all the time. They knew all of us, all the kids. They socialized. Do they do that anymore? Do cops socialize with the kids in their neighborhood like they used to back in the day? No. Because that's how you build relationships. That's how you build trust in the cop. And then the cop also gets to know the kids in the neighborhood and things like that. Do they do that anymore? They don't do that anymore. It's a lot of things, man. They just, you got to take time to, to defend people, to get to know them, to understand them, and that way you can serve and protect. But when you think you're above all of them and you're going to look down on all of them, then this is the treatment that you're going to give them.
The comment about Trump, I will say, I do remember early in his presidency and addressing police department, whatever, blah. And he had said, when you're putting them in the car, like grab their head and duck them in. Nah, man, just kind of give them a little, it's okay to hit their head on the car. He did say that. He did say that.
Ryu says, we also need not to accept racism in our families and not let that type of thinking be passed down in the next generation. I agree. I agree. Oh, this is why it's called systematic racism. It's a structure in place. Only people can defeat systems, reform, or revolution. Those who do not move do not notice their chains. Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. Cannot argue with any of that. Richard Hernandez says, I think it's hypocritical that the only ones that want to protest when it's a white person killing a black person, but if it's all lives matter, then why don't they protest when it's black on black killings? Sir, they protest about everything going on. What are you talking about, man? And when it's a criminal killing another criminal or a gang member killing a gang member, that's kind of normal, okay? Mobsters kill mobsters. Drug dealers kill drug dealers. Gang members kill gang members. Fights happen all the time. Richard, I just want you to know that that sounds like a very racist statement. And that always comes in when we talk about this. What does a cop killing some innocent person have to do with two criminals shooting each other up? Explain that one to me, Richard. Where is the example comparable, my man? Huh? Because I didn't see I didn't see tons of Cubans standing up in the 80s about all the Cuban drug dealers out there. I don't remember Colombians lined up all throughout the 80s for all the Colombian drug dealers that were out there. I'm sorry, I must have missed a list of Jamaican people standing out for the Jamaican drug dealers.
Stick to the issue. Don't change the subject.
Yeah, Richard, buddy, just want you to know, man, when you bring up points like that, just looks racist, man. Just looks racist. Because now you're worried about a black on black crime now. Why are you so worried about that, dude? That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about drug dealers killing each other or gang members or anything like that, my man. But you're a little too worried about that, Rich. Check yourself, buddy. KHOAOS Dolphin says, thank you for being thank you. Being a black man, I appreciate what you said. Thank you. No problem, my brother. I'm just calling it like I see it. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. Call of Duty 1 says, I graduated from a police academy. They never taught us to put a knee on a suspect's neck. The book should be thrown at that cop and more, making good cops look bad. Exactly, Call of Duty 1. It is time for all of us to implore that all the good cops in this country, which we know most of the cops are, I'm saying it, but I'm also saying, good cops, you're failing, man. You're failing badly, okay? It's disgusting what's going on with good cops. You're allowing the bad cops to hang around. These people must be weeded out, okay? That's what we need. So please, step up. Pat in Asheville says, police training is too militistic. I never pulled my weapon when I was a PPO, even when I came upon a felon with a gun in his waist. Pucker factor was too high, though.
No, and they're right. The militarization of our police departments and the military giving them old equipment, and like almost every police department has a tank now and this. And I saw a thing, Adam ruins everything, and it was on and it's this escalation of this military type police force. It is gone overboard.
Yep.
No doubt.
Tony Leggett says, I have a cop friend that said if you try and point at another officer out of for insubordination, they won't come if you need backup. Well, eventually you'll get rid of all the bad ones, and then the good ones will stick around. But somebody's got to take the step forward, man. Somebody's got to take the step forward. It can't be only Reno Reigns. How many of you got that one? Martin Lydon said, afternoon from the UK, my friend. Sun is shining. Beer is on the beach. It's like South Florida here. Take care. Be safe out there, Martin. Much love, my brother. Thank you, Big O. Didn't think I could like your show any more than I did already, but you just put it over the top, man. Richard says, just like CNN, you left out the rest of what I said. Stick to sports, man. Yeah. I read what you said, my man. I don't think, how much more do I need to read? How many? There's a couple hundred statements here. You think I'm going to read them all? I read what you wrote, bro. It's not like I changed anything. You said it, not me. You said that they were, what about black on black crime? You said that, not me. So, ahora te quieres apendejar, and you want to backtrack, all right, like a cornerback. Well, that's your problem, my brother. That's not mine. I read what you said, word for word, okay? That I now maybe exposed your own thinking that you didn't realize. I get it, my man. It's a shocker for you. That's tough.
Exactly why those cops arrested CNN. When you get outed and you get exposed, man, yeah, exactly what happens.
Yeah, it gets a little frustrating when you get outed. I remember a while back I was pulled over with my girlfriend at the time, so they asked for my license and registration, gave them, no problem at the moment. He ran my last name, guns drawn on me and my girlfriend. Okay, but what happened? Like, give me the whole story. Did you do anything? Were you guilty of anything? Were you not? What's the deal? I don't know. You gotta tell me. Ray Grulon says, well said, Orlando. I'm just, calling like I see it, my man. The guy's pissed at me because I read what he wrote. It's like I was misquoted. Wait a minute. This is what you said, dude.
Yeah, but this is not fake news stuff. Like, we got it on camera. We saw you say this, and then you're going to tell us you didn't say it? Come on, man.
Why aren't they protesting when it's black on black crime? And it's like, okay, well, that's usually we don't go protest when gang members are killing each other. It's just, I don't know if Hernandez knows this, but that's just kind of what it is. Cuban people didn't care about two Cuban, drug dealers shooting at each other. Colombian people weren't worried about two Colombian drug dealers back in the 80s killing each other. They weren't out there protesting about that, bro. Just want you to know, okay? So the black community is not going to be, hey, let's go out and protest because two black gang members killed each other. That's the sad part of life. That sucks. Trust me, it sucks. But there are Hispanics killing each other in Wynwood and Hispanics killing each other in East LA. And so, you just want to pick one color and when the problem's everywhere, my brother. But nobody is ever complaining about criminals killing each other. I'm sorry, I have not seen that yet. I don't know. Have you, by the way, or am I the only one?
No, that's just basically the norm. You expect it.
The aforementioned Italians, have they gone out protesting over the years from all the mobsters killing each other? Just saying. No, they don't.